Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Musings and Monologues. Over the past several weeks, we've been deliberating upon issues, ideas, and events that have impacted us, affected us, and even confronted us in our daily ritual of existence. We have focused on politics, culture, society, literature, and cinema. Maybe the balance has tilted in favor of cinema. For me, being a practitioner in the cinematic profession, maybe I have chosen to focus more on those rare gems that I have discovered during this period of the lockdown. One such gem is a film called Hamid, released last year only. It is a film that objectively portrays the lives of individuals on both sides of the divide. On one side, the average hapless Kashmiri population caught in the whole grasp of a weird political environment where the military forcefully impinges their right to freedom and to a different point of view. The military, on the other hand, constitutes of individuals who are caught in these circumstances. In this case, an individual from Bihar who is caught in this hapless situation of never getting a holiday granted because of the militancy in the valley. On one hand, this man wants his freedom, on the other, this little boy wants his share of freedom and the way he chooses to get that freedom. Hamid is a 7-year-old boy whose father had disappeared, as is shown very early in the film, without a trace. And it's his urgent effort, his absolute necessity to somehow implore the Almighty and ask for his father's return back to their homes. His mother is distraught. He is facing abject poverty and yet somehow eking out an existence in the splendor of the Kashmir Valley, which is so evocatively being reproduced by Ejaz Khan and his cinematographer in such animated detail that it takes your heart away. Hamid is one such film which explores this little boy's relationship with his imagined Allah or God, with whom he seeks to converse over a mobile telephone and dials the number of one of the people working in the military force, how they too establish a rare bond of bonhomie and understanding of the greater reality that confronts the innocent majority of the Indian population, now considered outsiders and who consider themselves as Azad people on whom this military rule has been superimposed, has been thrust on unwittingly and unknowingly. They want, they clamor for a life of freedom. Hamid does not clamor for any such thing. He only wants one simple wish to be granted, that his father be returned to their home and to the pleasure of both his mother, his constantly crying and distraught mother, and him, the absolute focal point of innocence. He chances upon a conversation with one of the Bihari people in the military force, a person who wants to go back to his house to actually reunite with his family and share the joys of bringing up his little child who's only 8 months old. They accidentally, Hamid and this person accidentally chance upon a conversation that grows through the text of the film and reveals little vignettes, unknown vignettes, and objective vignettes. With the abrogation of Article 370, the majority of India thought that Kashmir was finally being returned to the Indian subcontinent. But unfortunately, that is not the case. That is not the reality. The people in Kashmir are agitated. Not the agitation that is being proposed and being embellished by the pamphleteering of those minority individuals who are termed as outsiders to the system by the Indian state. People like Arundhati Roy pamphleteering with such vehemence of purpose in her book The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, which portrays the absolute raw deal that the military provides to the hapless, innocent Kashmiri and those people who are also struggling for freedom from this grasp of the militia. It presents both these sides. Unlike the pamphleteers or unlike the Indian state, it just reflects the genuine concerns of these two hapless individuals. One, a little boy of 7 years of age, the other, a man in his early 30s, who's desperately wanting to go back to the normalcy of his regular life in his village in Bihar. These two strike up a conversation as Hamid supposedly dials his number to the Allah or the Supreme Being and imagines that he is conversing with Allah in very commonplace terms, almost like a friend, often rebuking him. The other hand is this Bihari officer who initially is disturbed by this strange person, young guy, who keeps on bothering him and irritating him at all odd hours of the day. But gradually, the relationship starts changing and acquiring a newer shape as this man, the Bihari individual, the Bihari militia person, grapples with the greater reality of Hamid's situation, knowing about his circumstance and being totally helpless in trying to avert the crisis that he faces, Hamid faces. It is the delineation of such a narrative with such objectivity of purpose. It neither is a document for a pamphleteer who opposes Indian government's imposition on the state and who support the abrogation of Article 370, so vital for the lives of those average Kashmiris who are caught in this constant battle beyond their grasp. Neither does it support the government or the machinery and makes caustic observations, albeit in a subtle way, in a very subtle way, so as not to poke its nose out of the context of the film and presents an equally balanced view and an equally hapless situation in the lives of both these two individuals, the little boy and the Bihari soldier. It is a film that is worth exploring because of its sheer tenacity of purpose, its absolute unbridled beauty. The whole image of this simmering state is contrasted with the stark natural beauty of Kashmir, so evocatively captured by Ejaz Khan, the director of this film. It just stares it in the face, the monstrosity of this dual existence. On one hand, the absolute hapless life of this little boy and his mother. On the other, the emergency imposed by a non thinking militia. That is the substance of the film. The rest I leave you to provoke and probe and find what is the reality of the situation in Kashmir. A Kashmir that is not portrayed by mainstream media nor by the mainstream establishment, that is the government in power. But it must be said in the end, it is a true triumph of democracy that a film like Hamid finds a censor certificate. That in itself shows and brings back to us the true essence of democracy, the spirit of democracy that allows a dissenting voice to make its presence felt. Hamid is that film which wants to make its presence felt and has earned that censor certificate to allow it for a wider viewership across India. When we living in different states, a part of the Indian majority establishment, look at such a film, we'll be left bewildered, astonished, and provoked into thinking about the reality of the Kashmiri people, what is the true battle that is raging between the establishment and the average person on the streets in Kashmir. Not the militants who appear from beyond the hills, who are trained beyond the hills, but there is purpose also shown in the film why such people are called beyond the hills to become terrorists from average Kashmiri citizens. It is the barrenness of their lives, the entire vacuity of a moral fiber that the Indian government and the establishment tries to impose on the lives of these strikingly simple human beings. That is a life which needs to be celebrated and saluted for its resilient spirit. That is the spirit which this film, Hamid, can imbue with. Find the answers and be amazed by this brilliant little masterpiece. I urge you all to once go to Netflix and see the film Hamid. Rest I leave entirely to your good offices and to your own sense of moral values and judgment. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead.